Hey guys, my name is Pranisha Rizal and today we'll be reading Chapter 3 of The Divine Ascension by Awada J. 8. Let's start. The God of Dragons is born. Ethan. Hey sir, how much is that hot dog? 1.99, son. Thanks. I'm Ethan Silver, a 16-year-old kid living in the kingdom of Rhinodrachianos. I come from a noble household that is known to have a good connection with the royal family. I tasked myself with taking care of a group of kids in one of the poor suburbs of the capital. Justin, Mia, and Alex are the kids I am looking for. I bought I bought a hot dog and walked down the street. I looked left and right trying to see what I can purchase with what's left in my wallet. Everything in this part of town is pretty standard and straightforward, but my objective was heading for Justin's suburb area. The people get there by well enough and live happy lives, not caring about the issue that plague the world around us. However, that doesn't mean they don't have their own problems to be facing. It's an unfortunate part of town that the king tries to fix, but people there have it hard to adapt to the rich life of the people in the city. Even though I'm from a wealthy family, that doesn't mean I only like the most expensive stuff. I'm used to visiting these parts of the cities, shopping around for anything that might come to mind. I wanted to buy a new necklace for myself, as I had a date and wanted to wear something new and shiny. So I left the mall I was at and went to the nearest jewelry shop in the city before heading to Justin's suburb. I opened the door only to be greeted by the local clerk, a girl around my age that goes to the same high school as I do. "Hey Ethan, nice to see you. How are you doing?" she asked me. "I'm fine. How are you?" I asked back. "I'm great. And I'm even better now that I saw you," she replied. "Aww." This clerk has an obvious crush on me. She always flirts with me whenever and wherever she sees me. I don't really like her that way, even though I remember going on one date with her a month back. I shrugged the thoughts off and proceeded right to business. "So I wanna buy a cool looking necklace," I said. Her smile faded when she saw me deflecting her attempts. She cleared her throat and took a more professional posture. "For whom?" she asked in a serious tone. "For myself, of course," I replied. "I want a new one, okay? Any new collection?" "Ooh," she said and nodded her head. Her happiness immediately returned, knowing that I am not trying to buy anything for another girl. She got me the most expensive and beautiful necklaces in the store, not even hesitating to ask me if I'm in budget or not. Possibly because she's aware that I'm rich. I took a gander at them and thought, I like this big gold one with the dragon's signal on it. Reminds me of the kingdom. I pointed to the one that I liked. She smiled and nodded, taking it out of its case and showing it to me. "This one is new. I think you'll like it." She giggled and winked at me. Even though she's a hot girl with all the body parts that men desire and stuff, I'm not interested in her at the moment. I'm too busy focusing on taking care of Justin and Co. And then the date. I bought the necklace and exited the store. She gave me 50% off the necklace since I'm a regular customer. But for some reason, I believe she had ulterior motives. And from what I know about her, it's obvious what those motives are. As I opened the door, she asked, "Hey Ethan, when am I going to see you again?" "One day." I smiled at her and winked. She blushed and waved her hand in goodbye as I walked away from store, having to bought having bought an expensive item once again. I drove from the city to the suburb area. For some reason, was 30 minutes outside the city. It counts as its own town, but it's a suburb area. What's important to me is that Justin lives there, and I'm responsible for him. I met that kid a year ago when I was passing by. He tried to steal my wallet once, but I'm used to pickpockets attempting to steal my stuff, so I managed to stop him before he could get his little hands on anything. From there, I went to see who is in charge of the kid, only to find out that he lives alone in a building attic. It was so run down that even the owner of the place didn't know he was there. It hurt seeing him like this, and that's when I decided to help him. Aw, this is so cute. I went around a few shops that I know of and asked the owners to give him some tax in exchange for money. A while later, I suggested that he should go to school, but he refused, telling me that he ran away from an orphanage and didn't want to be bossed around by adults. Then he introduced me to his friends. I parked my car near the building where Justin stayed and walked around the town, looking for the boy and his friends. It took me a while since the kids usually don't try to stay in one place for too long or even stand out in the crowd. Suddenly, I heard my name being shouted by a familiar voice. I turned around only to see my younger pals running towards me. Justin, wearing his usual red and yellow t-shirt and his favorite shredded jeans. Mia wearing her pink jacket, hiding her wings. Alex was wearing a shirt and shorts. Alex's family are friends of mine, and it was shocking to see him befriending the kids I tasked myself with taking care of. However, I was happy to know that he finally found people who he could get along with, especially she doesn't have many friends in school and his sister, a close friend of mine, bullies him sometimes. She's 15 and he's around 9 to 10, so it's easy for her to pick on him. Hey Justin, I called out as he got closer. I did a fist bump with Justin, high five with Mia, and a bro hug with Alex. They all stared at me, marveling at my clothes. Cool necklace, Justin pointed out, complimenting me. Thanks, buddy, I replied. So how was your day? It was okay, he replied, but best of all, we're going to the gang back together. Did you get any jobs today? I asked. A few, got paid enough to get by for nearly a week, though, Justin replied. Hope it's not an excuse to slack off, I commented. Oh, come on, of course it isn't. Do you need anything? Are the store clerks treating you well at least? Well, nothing out of ordinary. It's not like they'll be nice and offer me more. No one's generous around here. Here, if you need anything, don't be too shy to ask, okay? I'm fine, thanks. All four of us went strolling around the town. Nothing exciting was happening as everything was the usual, people buying and selling food, kids playing around, and all that. This place really isn't known for standing out from the other suburbs, but it's quite nice to look at. I've been to more impoverished areas where people aren't as calm and peaceful. I told a few stories about my week and how everything went by, and so did the other three. Alex was away for a while, and we didn't get to see him often. It was so nice to see the trio back together again finally. After we got bored, Justin decided to do a rooftop race. I didn't feel like racing others on the rooftops anymore, but since all the kids started booking it, I had no other option. However, I decided to take a shorter route to finish line using my lightning daggers. Cheater! I started zipping around like lightning, traveling at the speed of lightning vertically and horizontally on the sides of the building, until I reached the roof where the finish line was supposed to be, and the race is supposed to end. Justin won the race since he knew his way around rooftops more than everyone and took shortcuts. Mia got second place, and Alex finished last, since I didn't even want to race. Justin wasn't surprised to see me as he knew of my magical weapons. Sometimes I get the feeling he's jealous of me because of them. Alex was bewildered when I showed him the daggers. Mia wasn't too shocked, but still impressed by them. I decided that we should relax on the rooftop and enjoy the market view from above while discussing what our plans for the next few days should be. I proposed to Justin to ask Mia to help him with some of his jobs so they can both earn a living and probably get things done faster and have more free time before the sun would set. However, it turns out that she already has a list of jobs she does for a quick buck, similar to Justin at his request. That is when I started to realize that Justin does indeed have a sense of responsibility, one that I wasn't sure existed before. Seeing him asking his friends to manage their time and find something to do made me feel proud of him. Aww, this is so cute. I like this chapter. I discussed with them about furnishing their apartments properly. They were into the idea, but they weren't sure on the exact time. Alex proposed that we should free up some time next week and work together on that. Suddenly, Alex got a text from his brother saying he must return home. It was a little late after all, and she wanted to pick him up early. I like how she is completely fine with him seeing Justin and Mia. She sometimes encourages him to go and hang out with them. Alex isn't known for having many friends. "Hey guys, I'm afraid I have to go now," he said as he got up and stretched his arms. "Wait a second. I'll take you with me and drop you at your place. I think it's time for me to head home too," I said as I got up as well. "Don't forget to text me when you two are finished, okay?" I took Alex to my car and drove to his place, dropping him off after calling his mom and telling her not to come as it's more convenient. Alex kept talking about how it's a good thing that he's back in town and can see his friends once again. I remember when I was at his age and spent time with my friends. Suddenly my mind drifted, and I started thinking about what Justin will do when he becomes a teenager himself. I would do best if I try to convince him once again to go to school and learn that when time comes, he'll be ready to get an actual job, no matter how high or low the income is. I can make sure to get him a decent paying job. Hey Alex, I asked. Hmm? Do you think that you can convince Justin to go to school? I asked while focusing on the road. I'm not sure. He hates the concept of school. He escaped from an orphanage, after all, he explained. However, I was aware of this information. I know that. It's just that when he grows up, he will not be able to afford to live this life he lives nowadays, I stated. He will need to get a sustainable job that can that can get him to get a proper place to live and food to eat. You know, adult stuff. I think you're right, but I don't know how to convince him. Maybe we should talk to him about it. Good idea. Maybe while we're at it, we should tell Mia too. But I fear for her. She's a succubus vampire creature after all. We arrived at Alex's mansion in the hills. I parked my car and waved him goodbye as he made his way home. Then I drove off, heading to my place to get ready for the date I was planning for a few days on. Suddenly, I got a call from my father. I answered the call on speakerphone since I'm driving. "Hey Ethan, hey Dad, I'm here." Where are you? It's urgent. I'm heading home. Is anything wrong? No, but His Majesty the King wants to see you as soon as possible. Make your way to the castle right now, Dad ordered. Wait? See me? Why? I'm not sure. He requested you personally. Now go there and make me proud, son, my dad stated. Weeks later, third person point of view. Justin was asleep in his apartment in the middle of the night. The starry sky and the silence of the area around the apartment were perfect for sleeping. The doors and windows were locked tightly. Suddenly, the front door opened and a group of five tall men stepped inside, entered Justin's room, and walked to the bed which he was sleeping, oblivious, oblivious to the fact that his home was broken into. I have a bad feeling about this. They grabbed the sleeping child and slowly lifted him off the couch, taking him with them on one shoulder. They got out of the apartment and closed the door behind, leaving not a single trace of them ever being there. The masked men took Justin outside of the building and placed him inside their back vehicle after making sure that a single soul did not spot them. Justin slowly woke up by the sound of the car engine and looked around him. He was still slightly half asleep, but he noticed that he wasn't in his apartment and on his bed, but in a car with a group of masked men. His eyes instantly shot wide open, and he freaked out. Where am I? Who are you people? He started to ask while freaking out and jumping around in utter shock and complete horror. Do not freak out. We're not here to hurt you, one of them stated. They did not seem to be harmful, rather than calm and friendly. However, that alone was not enough to calm the kidnapped child. They took off their masks, scantly making the boy as they captured less afraid. They offered Justin water to drink and a chocolate bar to eat. Justin accepted their offer without putting much thought into taking food from kidnappers and began munching on the chocolate bar, not even suspicious of the food he was offered. We're His Majesty's covert task force. We're tasked with taking you to the Dragon Temple in the mountains. What? Why? Justin asked. You will see once we arrive. We're not allowed to tell you anything else about our mission. Okay, what time is it? 2 a.m. What? And why we? Justin asked again. You'll see for yourself. Justin stayed silent. He sat with his hands and crossed his legs together, not uttering a word. He just stared at his kidnappers, who looked at him with friendly smiles and gestures. Only he did not believe them and their friendliness. His adrenaline was pumping hard, and his heart was racing out of fear. His mind could not process what was occurring despite being told by those shady individuals. He did not move or speak for the rest of the ride, only staring at the window that was weirdly available for him to gaze through. I don't know if you're familiar with this road, but looking through the window will tell you that we are not lying. We are first heading to the royal castle first, then to the temple. Justin arrived with the bed to the castle entrance. Seeing it made Justin feel relaxed as the kidnappers were true to their word. The people got Justin out and surrounded him like an entourage. Before they continued any further, Justin looked at the car and saw that it was a high-end car, one of the many royal vehicles King is known to travel with it. Justin gazed at the grand building that stood in front of me, marveling at the sheer size of the structure. Seeing the castle up close and personal was very eye-opening for him. The kingdom's castle? Why am I here? Asked Justin. The kingdom's... You'll see, one of the kidnappers now seemed to be bodyguards replied. They took Justin through the castle. The boy got busy taking in all the sights inside the castle interiors from walls to the paintings, and all the other decorations like fancy furnishing that obviously cost a fortune to own, let alone maintain. "This place is so awesome!" Justin exclaimed. "I can't believe I'm here." "You'll get used to it," one of the men escorting Justin said. The royal castle he was in was very spacious, allowed allowing it to echo Justin's voice in some halls and make him too busy to notice the distance in others by just sheer beauty of it. The castle itself sat on the top of the mountain, overlooking the entire city. After a little tour of sorts around the castle, Justin was taken to the throne room. The sight of the large doors alone was enough to intimidate Justin, not to mention the fact that he was about to meet the king himself. When Justin entered, he was met with the sight of a wide hallway leading to a staircase where the king was sitting on his throne, staring back at the boy with a warm and welcoming smile. King Leo Divinus Angelos Tracianos, also known as King Leon, the 119th monarch of the House Angelus, ruling over the kingdom of Rhinodracianos. Donning his raiment that consists of a black tuxedo with a red cape accompanied by a golden pauldron on the left shoulder. "Your Majesty," everyone kneeled except for Justin. "The VIP has been delivered just as promised." "Well done. Did anyone spot you while carrying the operation?" the king asked. "No, your Majesty. The operation was a total success." "Very well. Prepare the vehicle once more. We'll head out in a few minutes." "As you wish." "Hello, Justin," the king greeted. His voice was deep, but with a fatherly softness into it. He spoke calmly, without any of the formalities that come with interacting with royalty. "Your Majesty, Justin trailed off. "You don't know why you're here, do you?" asked the king. No, your Majesty," Justin responded. "Let me explain," the king said. The bodyguards walked away as the king began to explain. "Ever since the beginning of time, the gods watched over mankind and maintained peace, helping humanity grow stronger and live in harmony with their divinities. The gods ruled over all forces of nature and beings that walked among us humans. However, the dragons were a whole other story. The dragons are an ancient race of large powerful creatures with wings. Their powers were not only revealed by their wisdom, they helped shield this world from all the evils that would seek to destroy the lands gifted to us by the deities above. Uh, the dragons were of so much great wisdom and significance to the world that they had their own deity, Xanoctrius, the dragon god. "The fallen god?" Justin asked. "Indeed. How did he, fall?" "The god selected a man from the strongest warrior of yore to become their champion to strike against all the forces of darkness. A warrior of the unmatched metal that stood in the force of evil, that will fought back the darkness in the name of everything holy. His nobility and chivalry were as strong as his blade that struck down the demons of the underworld. But at the point in time, this man turned on the gods for some untold goal and tried to slay them all, betraying the very ones who bestowed upon him the noblest purpose of a warrior may be granted. The dragon god stood up against the accursed traitor. However, that warrior of old was too powerful, even for the deity himself. The god was victorious in their final battle, but the victory at the cost of his own life. Some say that Nocturus was aware of his fate, thus stopped the gods from interfering, knowing that they might have shared the same fate. Very interesting. Well, the rest is about to blow you away, but this is the part where you come in. Wait, what? Ever heard of the Chosen's prophecy? The king asked. I'm afraid not. The A prophecy once told that mystical dragons would set out in a search for a worthy human that is desired to become the next dragon god and rule over his own kingdom and become a symbol of hope for us all, a mortal becoming a deity, the divine chosen one. Justin was speechless, listening to every word that the king spoke in utter disbelief. The shock of the sudden realization of what the king was implying. And out of all the gladiators and warriors, out of all the princes and kings, out of all the knights and soldiers, out of all heroes and legends, a child, Justin's eyes widened, taken away from his family, a little child was chosen to ascend to the light and become a god, and that child is you. Justin gasped and jumped backwards upon the confirmation of his thoughts. With the knowledge of his destiny revealed to him, Justin could only manage to stare back at the king in bewilderment. Me? He asked. Yes, you, the king replied. But why me? The wise legendary mystical dragon saw something in you. They chose you for a reason. However, I cannot tell. The king replied, That reason I do not know. You aren't from this world, Justin, but you've come to this world as a gift. Justin began to think of his origins and parents. The thoughts dashed inside his mind. He did not know what to feel. Should he be happy that he is to become a god? Or should he be emotionally devastated, knowing that he is not of this world? Who was he? Where did he come from? Who are his mother and father? He wanted to ask all these questions answered. I don't know your origins. I found you at the castle garden one night, under a sky brightly lit with shooting sky. A handwritten letter from Nemoflora, the goddess of the night, was in the basket you left inside. Through it she informed of your future as the new dragon god, King Leon explained. Then why was I found at an orphanage in the middle of the nowhere? Justin asked, visibly, visibly frustrated at the revelation. I escaped that orphanage. It sucked. I had bullies left and right. I kept getting punched and kicked around, and the staff there were of no help at all. I intended no harm by the decision I took. The next night I feared an attack by the assassins, the same assassin who took my beloved Sienna from me and separated me from my son. The time they assassinated the queen, I had to fake the death of my son, Saturi. It was though at the first he was the chosen one. When a bright light appeared in the sky he was born. However, it was not the case, the king explained. After you escaped the orphanage, we decided to secretly help you without the knowledge of a single soul. The owner of that building you live in, he was aware of you all along. I asked him to free up that top room and leave it for the taking. My unit started sending you those food packages. I kept an eye on you and made sure that you did not get yourself seriously injured or hurt. All of that without you even realizing. You were secretly under our care. We were surprised, however, by the fact that you never questioned all of this coincidences. I did question it, but I didn't come to a conclusion. You gave me the keys of the apartment by lying it in front of me on my own to see with my friends. I went to the address I saw on the tag and accessed the apartment building. like it was a large old attic. I got the furniture and made it look better. Justin replied with a cold voice, arguing with the king. You found all those furnishings laying around. Who do you think put them there? The king replied, sticking to his story, maintaining his calm attitude while Justin got more irritated. Oh, you know how to hide your involvement. I'll give you that. I don't think that's how 8-year-olds talk. Again, sorry. A few years after we found you, I went to the Dragon Temple and saw with my own eyes the magic of the gods in physical form. The legendary new shy arm dragon armor stood there right in front of me, waiting for the new god to wear it proudly once it's ready. In all my years that I have walked on this earth, I have never seen the true godly craftsmanship with my own eyes. My royal armor and weapons do not compare to such eternal armor. In that instance, for the first time in my entire life, I truly felt the presence of God. The armor itself disappeared as soon as I approached it, but I did get a message that confirming that it will be in a secret room in the castle, one that I didn't even know of. It will be hidden well from prying eyes, deep inside the safest place it could ever be in. You will grow up, and once you are old and strong enough, the branch shedding will your glaive and will meddle untouched darkness. You will wear it with pride and ascend as the new god of dragons, the king explained. And why am I here now? Justin asked while looking at the king with tears in his eyes, unable to process all the information dumped into him. Because it is time. The vehicle was reeled once again, this time the destination even further north to the top of the Victory Mountain. There lies the Dragon Temple, waiting for the new god to receive his powers and accept his fate. King Leon and Justin arrived at the end of the road after a 2-hour drive. From there both of them left the car and walked to the mountain temple on foot, with only a few pieces of thick clothing to shield them from cold. Once they arrived at the top, the atmosphere started slowly but noticeably getting warmer until it became warm enough for them to take off their jackets. The gods didn't want the weather to interfere with the ritual, I see, King Leon commented. I can see the city up from here, Justin stated. The two entered the temple grounds and paused for Justin to take in beauty of it before continuing further. They both started to walk the stairs and headed to the colossal building. Why is this place so empty? Justin asked. It is always like this. The altitude is high enough for the cold to be unbearable, as you've seen. It is not a pilgrimage site of sorts. The god built this temple for the sole purpose of bestowing the powers of the light upon you. Oh, so that's why they made the weather warmer. Exactly. Arriving at the central area of the temple, Justin and King Leon headed for the large doors that were directly in their direction. The king started to push on the doors, opening them just enough for both of them to be able to walk through with no problem. These doors must be heavy, Justin opined. They are. I think I need a back massage after this. The doors led to a giant bridge with several massive floating pillars on each side. The bridge leads to a staircase that goes all the way to the top of a godly structure that resembles two towers. So this was the end of chapter 2. Chapter 3, sorry. I don't see the picture here. There should have been a picture here, but then I don't think the app processed it, so we'll just keep on. It's not the end of chapter 3 yet, sorry about that. As the king and the ascending god made their way to the Ascension grounds, a soft female eternal voice started to speak out of nowhere. Oh, chosen one, the time has come for you to accept your destiny and ascend to the light. While we miss Zadok Trius, it's time for you to take his place. There's an empty throne in the heavens, and a new god of dragons is needed. Go forth, O chosen one. The future of the world depends on you. What was that? Justin exclaimed. It was the gods. They spoke to you, the king asserted. This is real. When the two reached the top of the structure, they were met by the sight of a vast cir- circular area with an open view to the lands below. The edges were surrounded by Dro- Doric columns that were there for the purpose of observing energy, evident by their glowing with light. Then once again the voice spoke. The summit of Ascension, built brick by brick by dozens of races using materials from all the realms. Alas, all who worked for this moment were wiped out by the demons and the darkness. Do not let their exhausting toil go to waste. Their hope and dreams of a better future die out with them. I accept. I accept. Now grant me the power so I can set the things right, Justice said without a second thought. A change of heart all of a sudden? King Leon asked. I've been thinking about some stuff recently. I don't want Mia and me to live in the dirt anymore. I'm tired of stealing just to get by for the day. I'm also sick of seeing others who are not so fortunate have to suffer worse fate than going hungry all day. And if this can help me make things go for the better, then why not? THEN. Ah! I shouldn't be so nitpicky. Justin walked to a circle that was at the center of the area with lines on the ground stretching from the columns to said circle. And when he did so, particles of light started to appear everywhere, illuminating the area. The lines and the circles began illuminating as well, while the pillars started to grow even brighter. Hear me, gods, who rule from above. I accept the destiny you bequeathed to me. Grant me the powers that are rightfully mine. As, as soon as he said that, large beams of light struck the columns, transversing from them all the way to the circle. Then all that light was gathered beneath Justin's feet shot up to the sky. Justin himself started feeling a bit more powerful as he observed the light that was fired towards the sky in a beam. After that thunderous roars were heard from the night sky as it split apart, letting rays of light strike the temple precisely at the summit. And this is when the four fabled dragons of yore emerged, the same ones who kidnapped Justin when he was still a newborn. The fire dragon, descending with unbridled bridled fury, bestowing the chosen one with strength to cleave his path to victory. The golden dragon, arriving with the blessing of right, bequeathing the chosen one with the power to conjure his arsenal. The magic dragon, appearing with magic, blessing the chosen one with power to exercise astral magic. The spirit dragon, dividing down the powers of pure will, boosting the chosen's speed, durability, and granting him with elemental powers. The whole town was awakened. Every single citizen went down to the streets and gazed at the sky. Some people started panicking, thinking that their time has come for them to be judged by the gods. But others were cheering, for they are believers in prophecy and their savior. Just as Ascension is the same reason for kingdoms' belief in the dragon's re-emergence. Three people were on a particular rooftop: Alex, Ethan, and Mia. They all stared at the atmosphere with a slight hint as to what was happening. Alex believed in the prophecy and was one of many who believed that the time was near. Mia, as a succubus, I really don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. She was aware of the whole ordeal with the Ascension but was not aware of the identity of the chosen. Ethan, however, he was brought up to speed on everything, up most up to the most minute detail by the king himself. The dragons started circling the temple from far away, each glowing with their respective color. Some people were amazed by the sight, and others were frightened. Most of the believers knew this was the day they were praying for, and with the Ascension happening for the world to see, they secured victory all over the non-believers. Politically, that solidifies the kingdom's relationship with its public, as people were strange to lose faith in the dragon kingdom that represented a fallen god, was held together by the promise of a god that may never come. Justin felt a bond between himself and the dragons. He felt their powers within him. He felt that they were here to protect him and stand by his side as he becomes the god of all dragons. The bond between the boy and the mystical beast was beginning to form. The dragons then stopped circling the temple. They were all flying in a specific direction. The golden dragon flew to the north, the fire dragon flew to the south, the spirit dragon flew to the east, the magic dragon flew to the west. Then they all started glowing brighter and brighter in white. The white brightness then moved to their mouths as they charged it for the huge blast. They were aiming towards the temple, but more precisely on the chosen one. Mia was amazed at the sight, while Alex was extremely satisfied by witnessing the day he prayed for finally come. Ethan, on the other hand, knew everything that was happening and was cheering on, even though he was particularly ecstatic that his childhood friend is to bear the burden of the world. Justin, of all people, our journey's crossing. Was that preordinated? He asked himself. Are you okay? Mia asked. Yeah, just a little nervous. Nervous is all. The dragons fired their blasts simultaneously, hitting Justin all at once. Justin screamed in pain as he slowly started to levitate off the ground, the powers being too much to bear. The king stood back and watched as Justin became engulfed in mystical light energy. He conjured his royal armor to protect himself from any sudden blast that might release. The process took about 2 minutes before Justin started levitating while the dragons continued blasting the boy with all their potential, giving him the energy, powers, and divine magic he is entitled to have. His body then started flying vertically upwards at high speed and velocity as soon as they were done. The fabled dragons followed suit, flying at a speed that nearly matched the Chosen's. All of them kept levitating at those speeds until they were visibly in space when the levitation slowed down to a halt. When the boy opened his eyes, he was bewildered to find himself in space, staring down at his planet. 4 dragons now were floating with him, surrounding him from the left, right, front and back. The dragons then lit up in the same divine light as before and approached Justin, who was still in shock. Who was still shocked. The dragons wrapped themselves around Justin, then the light merged into one single bright light. A few seconds later, the light disintegrated, and the dragons were nowhere to be seen. Justin looked at his bodies and noticed his changes, the muscles, the height, the strength in everything. He had the look of the kid with muscles and abs. I don't want to imagine that. His, I thought he was like Shazam, but I guess not. His new powers didn't change his physical appearance too much, but rather enhance it. The differences could not be spotted easily unless it was someone who knew him before the Ascension. He gained a few inches in height, and his muscles were swollen and became much more defined. His hair was now entirely blond, and his eyes became blue in color. Even his codex changed. At first it was a regular red sports band with touch capabilities, and the watch itself was golden in color. Now the band took a futuristic design that was white in the center and the red on the edges. The Watt aluminum housing became white with a few golden lightning designs. The digital crown and the buttons all turned into gold as well. Who am I? I don't know who my parents even are. I don't know where I came from. I never thought about this, but now, knowing that I'm not even from this world, I feel like someone who just lost his family. But I still have my friends, Alex, Ethan, and Mia. They are my family. And suddenly, reality hit him. Wait a second, I'm in space. How the hell am I supposed to stay alive? Oh yeah, my powers. Oh my god, huh? I'm a god now. Woo, yeah! This is so cute. Like, seriously. He started dancing in space. Then he looked down on his planet. Time to return. Then he conjured dragon wings on his back and charged his power, then launched himself straight towards the planet. When he reached the atmosphere, he started to fly over the ocean. He watched as the water below him as he sped through the air and then flew higher until he was flying high enough to reach the clouds. He looked down and saw land. He kept flying until he reached his city. Justin headed back, making a beeline towards the temple. There, the king looked up and saw Justin levitating in front of me, dematerializing his armor. By the gods, I'm standing before a newly ascended deity, he stated. Justin got da- down on the ground and dematerialized his wings. I need to know more, Justin said. I told you everything I know. But who I am, I want to know who my parents are and why I was chosen after all that. I'm afraid I cannot help you there. Can't you go ask the gods now that you are one there? The king replied, Afraid not. Justin then sighed. I think this ascension was just me getting my powers. You said there are more dragons. I think must free them, then I can get to the gods. When I found you, I wanted to take care of you. Raise you as my own son, love you like you are my own flesh and blood. But that was not possible. I knew that fate brought you here for a reason, and I respected the god's wishes. And now you're on your way to become a god. You can't live in a small neighborhood anymore. I want you to live with us just for the meantime, the king explained. Justin looked at the king. No, your majesty, I want to stay with my friends, like I always was, Justin replied. Yes, of course. Then again, who am I to tell a deity what to do? The king replied, chuckling. Thank you, your majesty, Justin thanked. Please call me Leon, the king explained. Justin, I want you to know that I would do whatever it takes to help you find your real family and reconnect with them, the king said. King Leon looked at the city. Justin stared at the city as well and decided that he wanted to announce himself to the entire world. Justin walked to the edge of the temple and roared with all his might. The roar was heard all over the city. After he finished, Justin looked at the king and then back at the city. The god of dragons is here, baby! End of chapter 3. It was a fun. This chapter was fun, like seriously. Anyway, an hour is about to pass by, and I think I need to end the video here. Thank you for watching, and I hope you subscribe.